Hey, what's going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 4-game CSGO main slate on Wednesday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking down NBA, NFL, PGA, and esports, the other fantasy sports slates. Esports including Call of Duty, League of Legends, and this one, Counter-Strike CSGO. If you guys are interested in, again, PGA, just uploaded my video for the Travelers Championship. Also, tweeted out my spreadsheet for you guys to use to make lineups as well. But again, I want to say thank you guys for all the support. We're at 3.37 thousand subscribers. The easiest way to support me, leave a like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, a 5-star rating and review, those things would be greatly appreciated. But with that out of the way, let's jump in the video. So finally, Draftkings released the salaries for the slate, and I just don't really know what they're thinking. They had games at 9 a.m. Eastern that were already decided about what teams were playing, way earlier in the day. So I don't know why they wouldn't do a main slate or an early slate of 9 a.m. games and noon games, and then just have the late slate instead of wait for the late slate until literally almost 1 a.m. Eastern. I stayed up to make this video, so a little bit tilting there, but yeah, I mean we have a nice size 4-game slate, 20K to first, so I figured I would stay up until they finally release the salaries, which they just did. So before we get into all the details for Wednesday slate, what we can do is look back on lineup quickly from Tuesday slate. And Tuesday kind of more of a boring slate, but worked out pretty well for me. Yeah, there were 2 teams that are pretty heavily favored. I played a lot of the chalk, but left money on the table, right? That's how I wanted to get different. I left $1,000 on the table. I think Oboe was 6.8K. I wanted to play Poison over him at 6K, and that's what I did. Other than that, been chalk, blame F. I've been talking about him for the last few weeks now. He's just been playing Unreal. Paired him with Config, who was a letdown, but still really chalky. Poison, and then Bull on Flush and Crimp. So yeah, all in all, really solid day. Finished 9th out of 300 people in this tournament, so cannot complain at all. And let's see if we can keep it going for this 4-game slate. So let's take a look at these odds, right? So this is why I don't know why DraftKings didn't make an early slate or have this be the main slate. They have G2 Fnatic and Godsent Mouse Sports. 2 really good games. They're just not going to be on the slate. It's a little bit frustrating. The first couple games here are North and Movistar Riders. North minus 190 favorites. Vitality and Fate Esports. Vitality are the biggest favorites, minus 1,000. And then the North America games, had to go to gg.bet to find these. We have Liquid and MIBR. Liquid minus 167 favorites, so slight favorites there. Then 100 Thieves and Chaos, 100 Thieves minus 417 favorites. So it's pretty big favorites. All right, let's start the first game here. So we have Fate and Vitality. Start on the Fate side. So yeah, they're the biggest underdogs of the slate. Not saying they're out of play, because we have seen bigger upsets. And again, for betting purposes, maybe throw a little bit of money on Fate. You never know. Again, they did beat Dignitas. What was there? A couple days ago, they beat Dignitas 2-1. They beat some lesser-known teams, but still, we've seen bigger upsets for sure. I think there's probably only one guy I'm really considering. I think it's Harn at 6.6K as more of a one-off play. If you go and look at Fate stats for the last 3 months, you can scroll through their players. Yeah, Harn really stands out here, right? 0.73 kills on 0.60 death round, a 1.14 rating 2.0, whereas Blocker, 0.72 and 0.71. He has not as good stats, and he's, $2,500 more? Just because I think the only game they had on there was the Dignitas game where he played really well. So I think DraftKings was just going off of that last game, really, not the historical stats. So yeah, Harn is the guy that I would look to as a one-off. 6.6K looks decent. He has the best overall stats. Again, it's a very contrarian play because of how big of underdogs they are. On the Vitality side, so obviously Zaiwu 9.2K. He's a cash game play for sure. I think he's the guy you just plug in your captain spot, to be honest, because of how heavily Vitality are favored, how good of a player Zaiwu is. Yeah, you got to really like Zaiwu here at that price point. Again, Not a whole lot else to say about him. Just great stats, right? 0.83 kills on 0.61 deaths on. He really carries his team, uses the op, has the ability to make those huge plays, 1v2s, 1v3s. He's put out this team literally on his back multiple times. This was a game they should be able to win easily, though, so gotta like ZywOo there at the top. I think he's one of the safest, probably the safest spend up of the day. Now with the other plays here, Shocks, Apex, Masuta, and RPK. I think these guys are all very interesting. On a normal slate, normally I not too high on them because, just on the normal slates recently, they've been 3-game slates and been against better competition. This is the game they should win, and they should win 2-0 if we just look at the odds. So now I have more interest in these guys, right? Shocks, Apex, Masuta, RPK all have pretty similar numbers. Shocks has had a couple big games recently. He's at a price at 7.2. I think that looks pretty decent because of the upside he has flashed. Apex, again, not great numbers, right? 0.63, 0.69. Masuta, 0.59, 0.66. And RPK, 0.64 and 0.67. RPK is the cheapest of those three with Apex, Masuta, and RPK. So I think I'll rank these plays, again, obviously ZywOo 1, and then Shocks and RPK. The next guys I'm looking to. I think you can play them both if you want to. Again, you're kind of assuming they win 2-0. That's what you're hoping for, at least in RPK's sake. Now for ZywOo, an interesting thing I'll bring up is you kind of don't want the 2-0 with him because 20 points for him is a floor game on a map, right? He's probably averages close to 30 fancy points for one map. So really, you do want Fate to win one game if you're just playing ZywOo. But if you're playing a guy like RPK, then you're kind of hoping for the 2-0. So you got to think about that logistically, right? Are you just going to play one guy on Vitality, or you're going to go two-man stack and maybe just hope for the 2-0? I think you could still even just play Shocks and RPK together, maybe avoid ZywOo and hope ZywOo just doesn't have that ceiling game, hope they win 2-0. That's a way more risky strategy, but I think it is viable. All right, next let's talk about Movistar Riders versus North. So this is a game that I think is going to go very low owned, and it's kind of for good reason. I don't really have a good feel on it. They do have North, again, minus 190 favorites. North have won the 6 times they have played, but the last time they played was, what was that, June 9th, I believe. I mean, both are close games. I mean, these are two pretty evenly matched teams, in my opinion. So if you look at the numbers the last few months for this North team, it's not good, right? I think everyone is negative. MSL is even, I guess. You have AZ at slightly negative, but that's, I don't know. He's been very up and down. He obviously is the guy that has the most upside in this team, and he is the most expensive, I believe, for AZ. Yeah, he's 8.2K. He's been up and down, but he's put up 108 against Contact. He's put up good games against FaZe, 62. Put up 59 against Mouse Sports. Put up 84 against Fnatic. So the upside is there with this guy. And again, he is their best player. You are going to have to pay a premium for him at 8.2K. MSL at 8K is basically a complete stay away from me. I'm not going to get to him at that price point. Cajun B, Christu, probably stay away too. I just don't really have a good feel about anyone else in this team. But that's why I think it makes it interesting for GPPs. I mean, the Flocks are going to kind of avoid this game, but I like AZ as a one-off. Maybe Gade as a cheap option, but really don't have a good feel on this one. Gade, 0.62, 0.68 as far as kills per round, deaths per round, not great. Cajun B about the same. Christu, less. I don't even think I get to him. So it's a tricky situation. I think it's really only AZ that I have some interest in. I think he's just more of a contrarian play because, in my opinion, there's safer plays around his price point. But that's why it makes it interesting for GPPs, right? This game is just going to go low owned. Let's talk about the Movistar Rider side now. So it's definitely Alex, the guy that intrigues me the most. But again, you're going to have to pay premium for him at 8.8K. He has the best overall numbers, 0.72 and 0.67 as far as kills per round, deaths per round. He's had games where he's put this team on his back. He's had 63 against Mouse Esports, 67 against Contact, 72 against FaZe, about 70 against Copenhagen, 78 against Fnatic. So, this guy's clearly their best player. He has the ability to put up a big game, right? He can put up 70, 80 when playing well. So I do have interest there, but again, I think he's just more contrarian play for his price. I think there's safer options on this slate, in my opinion. The other plays here with Steele, Mopez, Lowell, and Easter, not a whole lot of interest. Steele's a guy I'll probably just completely stay away from. He's 7.2K. I don't have interest there. When he's got 0.64 kills from 0.7 deaths from a 0.98 rating 2.0. Don't really have interest in paying that much for him. Lowell is a guy that I would have a little bit of interest in at 6.4. Right, that looks pretty decent for if you look at his kills per deaths per 0.65 and 0.62. Yeah, really, these are two teams we haven't seen in a little bit. If you've been playing a lot of CS:GO DFS, we haven't really seen North or Movistar Riders a lot. But yeah, that's again, this game is going to go low owned. I think the two plays I'm the most interested in this game are the two top guys with Alex on Movistar Riders, AZ on North. Yeah, you're going to get low ownership in this one for sure. Next, let's talk about MIBR versus Liquid. So we have Liquid minus 167 favorites too. Again, kind of evenly matched teams here. If you look at their history, Liquid definitely has more wins for 29-12, but that's not ruling out MIBR. Let's talk about the MIBR side first. So Fallen at 8.6K, that just seems a little bit too expensive for them being dogs. You have KNGV and Fur about $1,000 less. They have almost identical stats. You could argue better. So for me personally, it doesn't make sense to get to Fallen unless you're trying to get very contrarian in GPPs. It's KNGV and Fur for me if you want to go to the MIBR side. Now, I also have mentioned TRK, who's been flying under the radar a little bit, but he's been playing really well. Like the last 3 or 4 games, he's kind of been carrying this team at times. So I have interest in TRK as a value play. Yeah, if you look at the last few months, not great, but you can scroll through and look at the scoreboards here. Let's take a look how he played today. Or in this one, he went 65 and 80, so that's not great, but no one really had a great game there against Triumph against, what did he go? He went 40 and 31. Yeah, so the second best on his team. What did they do against Envy? Let's see. 25 and 18, right? So he's been decent. I have a little bit of interest there in TRK at 6K, but it's obviously the top 2 plays for me are Fur and KNGV. KNGV has been a little bit better form recently. He had a really good game today. If you played that later slate, he really carried the roster, whereas everyone else just kind of had subpar performances. 0.75 kills from 0.66 deaths per for KNGV, Fur 0.73 and 0.68. Yeah, those are the two guys that look to the most on the MIBR side. Fallen, similar numbers of 0.73 and 0.60, and he has the ability to make those 1v2, 1v3 clutches with the AWP. But when you get about $1,000 difference, you got to take it with KNGB and Fur. So those would be the two guys look to the most there on the MIBR side. Tacos to stay away. TRK does intrigue me because he has had good games recently, but the price is starting to tick up on him. Next, let's talk about the Liquid side. So the prices on this side looks a lot better. Liquid are favorites. They're going to be a lot more popular. A Liege at 7.8. That's one of the best plays of the day, in my opinion. That is way, way too cheap. Now, could he have a bust game? Yeah. If Liquid gets 2-0'd, you're probably going to see a floor game from a Liege, right? 40 or 50 fancy points. But if they win 2-0, or if it's close series 2-1, a Liege, he can put up over 100 fancy points when he's playing well. And you're getting him at a really nice discount. Again, they're favorites here. So I think Liege is going to be one of the more popular cash game plays, but I really like him for that price. I just think that's about almost $1,500 or so too cheap, right? He's put up 106 against EG, 107 there, another game against EG, 82. He has upside to really put up a big game here for Liquid. So I like the price a lot in Liege. He's one of my favorite plays of the day. You can look at his stats for the last 3 months. 0.77 kills per round, 0.67 deaths per round. Yeah, gotta like Liege. NAF at 0.73 and 0.62 as far as kills per round, deaths per round looks decent. And then Twist at 0.67 and 0.63. Those are the next best players here on the squad. You got NAF at 7.6 and then Twist at 6.6. So when you have NAF and a Liege at almost the same price, I'm going to give the edge to Liege. Not saying NAF is out of play, not saying NAF can't outscore him, But when they're almost identical prices, I always go Leech. Now, we've seen slates where it's been $1,000 difference, or even $1,500, and that's when I prefer NAF. But when they're about the same, I go Leech. Now, I think you can play both. Both look pretty good. Both of these are the two guys that have the most upside, but I think I slightly prefer Twist to NAF for about $1,000 difference. Now, obviously, he doesn't have as much upside if you're just looking at those numbers, but he's had games where he's looked pretty good. Again, good numbers for his price and for them being favorites of 0.67 and 0.63. So I have interest in Twist. Now, Stewie 2K and Nitro both actually have had some decent games recently for this Liquid squad. They don't have the best numbers. You're just looking at the numbers recently, but I think both are still in play. But for me, it's really a Liege 1, probably Twist 2, and then NAF 3, but all three look pretty good. Again, Liquid favorites. Prices look a lot better on these guys than they do the MIBR side. For that reason, they're going to be a lot more popular. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking here for this game. And then lastly, let's talk about Chaos versus 100 Thieves. We have 100 Thieves minus 417 favorites. That looks they're the second biggest favorites of the day. Let's talk about the Chaos side first here. So for them being pretty big underdogs, there actually are some decent prices in these guys. And there's two guys that I have interest in, and it's Zeppa and Leaf. Zeppa with 0.82 kills per round, 0.64 deaths per round. He has the upside if Chaos can pull off the upset. He really has upside to put up a huge game. And then Leaf just seems way too cheap. He's at 5.2K. Zeppa at 7.4K. Those are the two guys that really do stand out if you want to go this route. The other guys on the roster are probably stay away from me, right? Everyone else below, Vanity slightly positive, but everyone else below 1.0 KD, whereas Zeppa's sitting at 0.82 and 0.64, and then Leaf at 0.81 and 0.67. So those two look the best. Obviously, I'm for Leaf to Zeppa at a 5.2K price point, and I think you can use Leaf as a one-off here. It's an interesting scenario because they are big underdogs, but if they just keep this game somewhat close, you're probably going to have Leaf pay off that salary at 5.2K. So he's someone that very much intrigues me here. The only 8 fantasy points per game, I think they only have one game up here. Yeah, against Gen G. Wouldn't be super concerned about that. So yeah, I do like Leaf a good amount as a value option, even though they are big underdogs. And lastly, let's talk about the 100 Thieves side. So this is a team you got to feel pretty good about in cash games, right? The second biggest favorites of the day. So you have JKS at 8.4, Gratisfaction at 7.8, Jakeem at 7.2K. Looking at those three guys and their salaries, it's Jakeem that stands out, or Jakeem, however you pronounce his name, is the guy that stands out really, or the most from me on this 100 Thieves team. He's a very aggressive player. He has close numbers to JKS and Gratisfaction. Let's look at Jakeem, 0.72 kills per round, 0.68 deaths per round, JKS 0.73 and 0.60. So obviously JKS is slightly better. Gratisfaction 0.7 to 0.65. That's pretty similar to Jakeem. You're getting Jakeem at $600 difference there. JKS at 8.4K. Again, he has the best numbers. So I think I would rank these plays Jakeem 1, JKS 2, Gratisfaction 3. But you got to have interest in the 100 Thieves side. Now, not saying AZR and Liaz aren't out of play. Both have actually had games where they've carried this 100 Thieves roster. They've been the top two guys. I mentioned a couple times. This is more of a balanced roster where anyone really can go off. Now, AZR and Liaz not going to go off as much, but they still have had games where they've led the team. Liaz right about a 1.0 KD, slightly negative. AZR slightly negative as well. I'm not saying those guys are out of play. I'm just, when you get Jakeem $400 more, I'm much going to prefer that, or $800 more to Liaz. But if you need salary relief, I don't think those bottom two guys on 100 Thieves I don't think they're the worst plays for them being minus 400 favorites. So yeah, let's do a brief recap of this slate. Let's first talk about cash games. So cash games, you don't worry about ownership at all. Again, you just want to play the optimal plays. So for me, you're going to want to target probably Zywoo and one other guy in Vitality. Again, I think you really can make an argument for any of those Vitality guys. It's just, what fits with your roster. Then the other two guys that I think are the most interesting are probably Shocks and RPK for their prices. Cash game plays in the second game. I think it's only those top two guys, which would be AZ on the north side and Alex on the Movistar Rider side. And then MIBR versus Liquid on the MIBR side. Again, this one should stay close. I think KNGV and Fur are a little bit riskier because they are underdogs, whereas the Liquid side, you gotta really like a Liege, Nath, and Twist for cash games. Those guys look pretty good for their respective prices. And then the 100 Thieves side, obviously, Jakeem, JCass, those would be guys I'd look to for cash games. I think you can consider Leaf in cash for how cheap he is, how good numbers he has, as long as they can keep it close. So that's kind of how I would go about it. Cash games, those kind of core guys I just mentioned. For GPPs, again, you really can make an argument for kind of whoever you want. You can take shots on underdogs, right? We've seen bigger upsets. If you want to go Fate, if you want to go Chaos, you can. Am I going to do it personally? Probably not. The way my roster construction is going is probably, I'll get some Vitality exposure, some 100 Thieves exposure, considering Leaf as a one-off. And then the MIBR Liquid game is still a little bit undecided there because I know Liquid's going to be a lot more popular. Obviously, it'll look better, but the MIBR side are going to be a lot lower owned. So I still haven't made my decision or decided on that one yet. And the Movistar Riders North game still have a great field, but I think I would only consider the top two guys on their respective teams. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. So thanks for staying up. Again, sorry this video is up so late, but nothing I could do. I had to wait for these DraftKings salaries to get up, to come up. But yeah, thanks again for everyone to come and check the video. Hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys all in the next video.